October 1947. The guns of Partition had barely fallen silent when a new war erupted in the Himalayas. Thousands of tribal warriors, armed and backed by Pakistan, came pouring into Kashmir. A desperate king faced an impossible choice. Indian soldiers made a desperate airlift to save Srinagar. This is the untold story of the 1947 Indo-Pak War, a brutal conflict of betrayals, bloody battles, and the division that still defines South Asia today. Welcome to Historical Stories, where we don't just tell history, we make you feel its thunder. The storm over Kashmir, the Indo-Pak War of 1947 to 1948. Prologue, a kingdom in peril. The autumn of 1947 was unlike any other in the princely state of Jammu and Kashmir. The winds carried not just the chill of the coming winter, but also whispers of war. Maharaja Hari Singh, the Hindu ruler of this Muslim-majority kingdom, sat uneasily on his throne in Srinagar. The British had left India 2 months ago, carving out a new nation, Pakistan, for Muslims. Now, Kashmir, nestled between the two newborn giants, India and Pakistan, was caught in a deadly tug-of-war. The Maharaja had hoped to remain independent, but Pakistan's leaders, particularly Muhammad Ali Jinnah, were determined to bring Kashmir into their fold. When diplomacy failed, Pakistan decided on a different approach: force, the tribal onslaught. Before dawn on October 22, 1947, thousands of armed tribesmen from Pakistan's Northwest Frontier Province, NWFP, backed by Pakistani army officers in civilian clothes, stormed into Kashmir. They came in trucks, armed with rifles, grenades, and a fanatical zeal. Their first target was Muzaffarabad, a key town on the road to Srinagar. The ill-equipped Kashmiri state forces were no match for the invaders. The tribal warriors, fueled by promises of loot and jihad, swept through the countryside. Villages were plundered, women abducted, and men slaughtered. By October 24th, they had reached Baramulla, just 50 kilometers from Srinagar. Here, they unleashed their worst horrors. Churches were desecrated, a convent's nuns were murdered, and the streets ran red with blood. The Maharaja's desperate plea. In Srinagar, panic spread. The Maharaja's forces were crumbling. With the invaders advancing, he had two choices: surrender to Pakistan or seek India's help. But India's Prime Minister, Jawaharlal Nehru, made it clear no troops would move unless Kashmir legally joined India. On October 26, 1947, Maharaja Hari Singh signed the Instrument of Accession, handing over defence, communications, and foreign affairs to India. The very next morning, Indian soldiers boarded Dakotas at Delhi's Palam airport, flying straight into the heart of the storm. The battle for Srinagar. The first Indian troops, led by Lieutenant Colonel Dewan Ranjit Rai, landed at Srinagar's dusty airstrip on October 27th. The city was on the brink of falling. Rai's men immediately set up defences on the outskirts, near Srinagar's bridges. The tribal raiders, expecting little resistance, were shocked when Indian machine guns cut them down. Rai led a bold counterattack, but was killed in action. His sacrifice, however, bought precious time. More Indian troops arrived, and soon the invaders were pushed back. Turning the tide, the Battle of Shalteng. By early November, the Indians launched a full counter-offensive. Brigadier L.P. Sen, a battle-hardened officer, took charge. His plan was simple: strike hard and fast. At Shalteng, just outside Srinagar, the Indian army ambushed the tribal forces. Mortars roared, bullets whizzed through the air, and the raiders, used to fighting poorly armed villagers, found themselves outmatched. By nightfall, the road to Baramulla was open. The bloody road to Baramulla Indian soldiers marched towards Baramulla, retaking villages along the way. The scenes they encountered were horrific. Bodies littered the streets, homes burned, survivors trembling in fear. The tribal forces, now in retreat, left behind a trail of destruction. By mid-November, Baramulla was back in Indian hands. The next target was Uri, a strategic town leading towards Muzaffarabad. The fighting was fierce, but Indian artillery pounded enemy positions, forcing them to withdraw. Pakistan's hidden hand. At first, Pakistan denied any involvement, calling the invaders tribal volunteers. But by early 1948, the truth became undeniable. Regular Pakistani troops were fighting alongside the raiders. The war was no longer a rebellion, it was a full-blown invasion. India responded by sending more forces. Major General Kulwant Singh led the charge in Jammu, while Brigadier Sherjung Thapa became a legend at the siege of Skardu, holding out against impossible odds for months. The high-altitude war, Zoji La and Ladakh. As the war dragged on, the battleground shifted to the icy heights of Ladakh. Pakistani forces had cut off the Zoji La Pass, the lifeline to Leh. Without supplies, the Indian garrison in Leh was starving. In November 1948, India launched Operation Bison. Tanks were brought up the treacherous mountains, a feat never before attempted. Under heavy fire, Indian troops stormed Zoji La, breaking the siege and securing Ladakh. The UN steps in, but nothing changes. India had taken the Kashmir issue to the United Nations in January 1948, hoping for justice. The UN called for a ceasefire and a plebiscite, a vote to decide Kashmir's future, but only if Pakistan withdrew its forces. Pakistan refused, and the war continued. By December 1948, both sides were exhausted. Under international pressure, a ceasefire was agreed upon. On December 31st, 1948, the guns fell silent. The ceasefire and a divided land. The war ended, but Kashmir remained split. India held the Kashmir Valley, Jammu and Ladakh. Pakistan controlled Azad Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan. The line of control, LOC, was drawn, a temporary boundary that became permanent. Epilogue: a war without end. The 1947-48 war was just the beginning. It set the stage for future conflicts: 1965, 1971 and 1999, Kargil, and turned Kashmir into one of the world's most dangerous flashpoints. For the soldiers who fought, it was a war of survival. For the people of Kashmir, it was the start of an unending struggle. And for India and Pakistan, it was the first chapter in a bitter rivalry that still rages today. The storm over Kashmir had begun, and it has never truly ended. But while the echoes of war still linger in the mountains, one question remains unanswered, a question that takes us beyond the battlefield, into the heart of the conflict itself. Conclusion: a war without winners. The 1947-48 war ended not in victory, but in an uneasy ceasefire, one that froze the conflict rather than resolved it. Kashmir remained divided, its people trapped between two nations that claimed them but failed to free them. The bloodshed birthed a bitter rivalry, one that would ignite wars again and again. Today, the guns may have fallen silent, but the echoes of that first battle still haunt the mountains of Kashmir. Some wounds never heal, some wars never truly end. And that's how the First Indo-Pak War tore Kashmir apart. But here's the real question: could this conflict have been avoided? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more deep dives into wars that shaped our world. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next story.